This is the Sichuan peppercorn, and it's hijacking your brain. When you eat it, your tongue vibrates at exactly 50 hertz. Science calls this a tactile illusion. It's not a flavor, but a physical event rippling across your mouth. But for 3,000 years, this tiny berry wasn't just food, it was an ancient symbol of love and power. Today, we're decoding the spice that makes the world tingle. Inside the deep court of ancient China, this berry held a status of supreme prestige. It was a symbol of absolute power, and the tangible manifestation of an emperor's unreserved declaration of love. To understand its weight, we travel back 2 millennia to the Han Dynasty. Emperor Gaozu, the founder of the empire, constructed a rare, exclusive sanctuary specifically for his empress. It was called Jiaofang, the Sichuan pepper chamber. Palace attendants would harvest countless premium peppercorns, crush them in stone mortars into a fine powder, and blend them directly with clay mud and straw. This unique mixture was plastered onto the interior walls of the queen's private quarters, which were then draped with luxurious silk tapestries. This extraordinary craftsmanship was an act of raw imperial romance. In the ancient world, long before modern insulation, the porous nature of the pepper husk created a natural thermal barrier, allowing these walls to radiate warmth and shield the queen from harsh northern winters. Simultaneously, the steady release of volatile essential oils filled the imperial chambers with a soothing, woody aroma that acted as a highly effective natural repellent against pests. As the empire matured, the peppercorn transcended physical architecture to become a pure symbol of power. The Empress's official sovereign seal was legally stamped as the seal of the pepper chamber. Because a single pepper tree produces thousands of husks, each bursting with tiny black seeds, the plant became the ultimate totem for fertility and lineage, an empire's final armor against succession anxiety. 2,000 years ago, inside the deep palace, this humble plant perfectly bound together a king's ultimate romance, absolute power, and an eternal desire for survival. As centuries blurred by, this twinkling berry escaped the restrictive palace walls and entered the mud brick homes of ordinary citizens, shifting from a luxury token of royal affection into a shared New Year's ritual. On Chinese New Year's Eve, families gathered around the warm glow of the hearth to brew a unique ceremonial drink called jiaobaiju, a wine infused with Sichuan peppercorns and cypress leaves. In a fragile agricultural world without modern medicine, the transition from winter to early spring was historically a high-risk season for respiratory outbreaks and plagues. Within the traditional pharmacopoeia, cypress leaves possessed potent expectorant properties, while the pepper berry offered powerful antimicrobial and warmth-inducing traits. Together, this herbal formulation operated essentially as an immune booster, calibrated to ward off seasonal diseases. On New Year's morning, families would assemble for an extraordinary ceremony that completely broke the rigid social hierarchy of the era. In daily life, the rules of age and status were absolute. Yet on this morning, the goblet was handed to the absolute youngest child in the house to take the very first sip, leaving the elders for last. The psychology behind this chronological inversion was profoundly practical. Ancient chronicles explain the cold logic. For a growing child, crossing into the new year meant accumulating a new year of life capital and driving the lineage forward, a feat worthy of celebration. For the elders, however, it was a reminder of vanishing time and a shortening life, making their delayed sip a quiet, philosophical penalty. This single cup of warm, numbing wine served as an empire-wide shield against the unknown year ahead, a collective armor woven into the quiet of winter mornings for over a millennium. Though this specific ritual eventually dissolved into history, the cultural programming of the peppercorn, as a sensory shield for health, fertility, and resilience against vulnerability, remains permanently hard-coded into the civilization. In Chinese cuisine, the Sichuan peppercorn is generally divided into 2 types, red and green. They have very different flavor profiles and representative dishes. Red peppercorns are harvested in late autumn and dried in the sun, turning a dark crimson color. They carry a rich, earthy, and woody aroma, making them a perfect match for classic, slow-simmered dishes. In the iconic Mapo Tofu, the red peppercorn is the irreplaceable final step. It is ground into a powder and sprinkled over the hot cubes of tofu and oil, where its deep character balances the intense heat, weaving a rhythmic dance across your senses. In another classic dish, Chongqing spicy chicken, or laziji, the red peppercorn is stir-fried over high heat with crispy chicken bites, releasing a warm, toasted fragrance. On the other hand, green peppercorns are harvested in midsummer. Because they skip the aging and drying process, they retain a vibrant emerald green color. Instead of an earthy scent, they offer a bright, crisp fragrance reminiscent of lemon and lemongrass, producing a lighter and sharper numbing sensation. This refreshing profile is best showcased in Tangjiao chicken, a cold poached dish. The green peppercorn is paired simply with fresh green chilies and a clear broth. Its citrusy undertones completely shift away from the heavy oils of traditional Chinese dining, delivering a remarkably clean and elegant flavor. Red and green peppercorns reshape everyday dining through two completely different characters, turning a unique physical sensation into a daily culinary ritual. Today, this humble plant is quietly escaping its geographical footnotes, crossing borders to charm the palates of a global culinary avant-garde. In the dim candlelit cocktail lounges of New York and Los Angeles, mixologists are infusing the Sichuan peppercorn into artisanal gins and aged bourbons. As its subtle, woody fragrance collides with the bright sweetness of citrus over clear ice, it ceases to be a kitchen seasoning, transforming into a lingering velvet shiver in a glass. In the hands of pastry chefs, the berry finds an even gentler home, pairing with rich dark chocolate mousses and silky vanilla gelatos. As the cold sweetness melts away, it leaves behind a quiet, breathing warmth. This sensory paradox, the interplay of frost and fire, sweetness and shadow, disrupts the routine of Western desserts, offering a moment of quiet, unexpected wonder. From the imperial chambers of the ancient world to the global fusion kitchens of today, the journey of this simple berry proves one beautiful truth. Our search for sensory comfort knows no borders.